Many people lie down every night carrying invisible burdens they cannot explain. Their bodies are tired, yet their minds refuse to rest. They turn from side to side, eyes closed, but spirits restless, because something unseen keeps pressing against their peace. They wake up exhausted, drained in their finances, weak in their emotions, and heavy in their spirit. Yet they cannot point to a clear reason. What most people do not understand is this truth. Nighttime is not only for sleep. The night is a spiritual zone where light and darkness contend. While the body rests on the bed, the spirit remains active, often fighting battles the mind cannot remember. That is why what you do before you sleep carries far more weight than you realize. When darkness settles, spiritual sight becomes sharper. Evil gatherings are held. Assignments are released. Arrows of confusion, loss, sickness, and delay are launched into homes. Monitoring spirits move silently, searching for access points. They are not looking for doors made of wood or iron. They look for spiritual openings created through fear, anxiety, bitterness, anger, exhaustion, or unguarded thoughts. This is why many people suddenly experience disturbing dreams, strange sounds, pressure on their chest, or the feeling that someone is watching them at night. Without knowing it, something has been studying their patterns, feeding on their peace and interfering with their destiny, especially their finances. But there is hope. There is a way to interrupt this cycle and reclaim your rest, your joy, and your prosperity. There is a sacred action, simple yet deeply powerful, that has silenced the plans of darkness for generations. It is a prophetic act that joins water, salt, honey, cloves, and a bay leaf, ordinary items carrying deep spiritual meaning. Tonight, before you sleep, you will place something beside your bed that will shift the atmosphere of your home. This is not magic, it is spiritual wisdom. It represents cleansing, sweetness, covenant, protection, and restoration. It is a bold declaration that your home is not available to darkness and your life is not open to manipulation. The strength of this act does not come from the objects themselves. It flows from the authority of faith behind them. There are people whose blessings were stolen while they slept. They went to bed fine and woke up confused. Favor disappeared. Opportunities dried up. Health declined after strange dreams. These are not accidents. They are spiritual thefts. But when you carry out this divine act before sleep, you build a spiritual wall around your life. You declare that every night now belongs to God. You become unreachable to powers that steal, destroy, and delay. Understand this clearly. Peace, wealth, and restoration do not begin in the physical world. They are conceived in the spiritual realm. When you align your spirit with divine light before sleep, what belongs to you begins to locate you again. You wake up lighter. Your heart feels free. Favor begins to follow you. That is why this simple act before bed is so effective. It resets your environment before midnight spiritual activity begins. So tonight, before you close your eyes, prepare both your heart and your space. You are about to perform a spiritual cleansing that removes every trace of witchcraft influence from your home. You will summon back what was taken from you, your money, your joy, your peace, and your purpose. When you place this beside your bed, you are issuing a warning to every monitoring spirit. Your assignment is terminated. Heaven now watches this house. Night is not just the absence of daylight. It is a spiritual gateway. When the world grows quiet and bodies rest, spiritual activity increases. This is when destinies are altered, when dark agendas are activated, and when attempts are made to exchange glory. That is why fear, attacks, and nightmares often occur between midnight and 3 in the morning. During these hours, the veil between realms grows thin. Those who understand divine principles use this same window for prayer, protection, and restoration. Dark powers operate through observation. Monitoring spirits do not always strike immediately. They study routines, they analyze habits, they collect information. These are the unseen eyes that make people feel watched even when alone. They move through reflections, shadows, and vibrations. especially when doors are open through stress, unrepented sin, or emotional wounds. When a person sleeps, reports are sent to dark altars, and that is how destiny theft begins. But God never leaves his children exposed. He provides both spiritual authority and physical symbols to fight unseen wars. What you are learning is not witchcraft. It is divine warfare in proper order. Each ingredient carries spiritual meaning and sends a message into the unseen realm. The glass of water represents your spirit, clear, open, and ready. Salt represents covenant, purity, and preservation. Honey symbolizes restoration and sweetness returning. Cloves scatter dark forces and destroy evil signals. The bay leaf seals victory and confirms answered prayers. Together, they form a shield no dark power can penetrate. Water is one of the oldest spiritual instruments known to humanity. From the beginning, it separated chaos from order. It represents cleansing, renewal, and life. When water is placed beside your bed, it declares that the Spirit of God hovers over your night. It absorbs negative spiritual residue and neutralizes harmful energy. It becomes a reflective surface that blinds evil watchers. Salt carries divine memory. In ancient times, covenants were sealed with salt. It purifies and preserves. When salt enters this act, it announces that you belong to a divine agreement of protection. Darkness cannot mix with salt's purity. This is why witchcraft avoids salt. It disrupts their flow and breaks their attachments. Keeping salt near sleeping spaces blocks unseen intrusions. Honey represents recovery. Where bitterness entered, sweetness returns. When favor was lost and joy diminished, honey draws them back. Mixing honey with salt declares judgment against darkness and blessing upon your life. It becomes a spiritual magnet for opportunities, abundance, and restored relationships. Cloves are spiritual fighters. Their scent drives away dark presences. In the unseen realm, they burn like fire. They suffocate evil frequencies and destroy surveillance signals. When cloves enter the mixture, every monitoring spirit loses connection. Angels recognize this fragrance as a call for protection, turning your room into guarded territory. The bay leaf is a symbol of triumph. Kings were crowned with it after victory. Spiritually, it seals prayers and finalizes outcomes. When placed in the mixture, it declares that delays are broken and prayers are answered. It stamps your space with authority and light. Now prepare the mixture. Nothing expensive is required. Faith is the key. Take a clean glass, fill it halfway with clean water. As you pour, say in your heart that this water carries light and cleansing. Hold the glass briefly and imagine every drop filled with purity. Disorder begins to retreat. Add a pinch of salt slowly. As it dissolves, quietly declare that your home is sealed under divine covenant. Invisible walls of light rise around you. Every curse aimed at your rest loses strength. Add a few drops of honey. Speak restoration over your life. Declare sweetness returning to your finances. Peace returning to your mind. Favor returning to your name. Balance fills the atmosphere. Drop in 3 cloves. Visualize fire releasing. Declare that every spirit watching you loses power. Surveillance lines are cut. Visibility is lost. Hold the bay leaf in your right hand. Speak your name and your desires into it. Declare victory, restoration, and answered prayers. Place it into the glass as a final seal. Stir the mixture 3 times with your right hand. Slowly, intentionally. Imagine golden light swirling. Speak authority over every attack, every curse, every delay. Place the glass beside your bed, near your head. Leave it uncovered. As you sleep, it absorbs and neutralizes every dark signal. It works silently on your behalf. Before sleeping, pray. Speak Psalm 91 or speak from your heart. Ask for angelic protection. Release your worries. Sleep in peace. In the morning, pour the water away outside or into the sink. Declare that every evil sent toward you returns to its source. Clean the glass and thank God. As you sleep, a shift takes place. Light moves. Darkness retreats. Angels stand guard. Your spirit rests safely. Arrows bounce back. Signals fail. Your name shines in the unseen realm. Lost opportunities begin returning. Favor realigns. Peace settles deeply. Your home becomes calm. Your dreams clear. Chains break in visions. Morning arrives lighter. What was meant to harm you is discarded with the water. This is not superstition. It is awareness. You are taking back your nights. Your bed becomes an altar of renewal. Your sleep becomes a declaration of faith. God works through simple obedience. Ordinary things become powerful when faith speaks through them. Guard your nights. Speak life. Repeat this whenever heaviness returns. Finally, speak authority. Declare protection, peace, prosperity, and favor. Know that no weapon formed against you. Why? Succeed. You are no longer a victim. You are awakened, covered, protected, chosen. This is Joshua Selman wisdom, where light is revealed, truth brings freedom, and every night becomes a sacred encounter with divine power. As you continue to walk in this awareness, something deep begins to change inside you. You start realizing that you were never meant to live exhausted, anxious, or constantly fighting unseen pressure. You were created to live guarded, favored, and at rest. The enemy thrives where people are unaware, but the moment light enters understanding, darkness loses its grip. Every night you choose to align your space with divine authority, you are making a statement that your life is no longer available for silent attacks. Many people wonder why progress feels slow even when they pray. They fast, they cry, they work hard, yet something keeps pulling them backward. What they don't see is that battles are often fought at night before the day ever begins. The enemy plans in the dark, hoping you will enter the morning already defeated. But when you secure your night, you secure your tomorrow. When you cover your sleep, you protect your future. This is why spiritual people do not treat nighttime casually. They understand that rest without covering is vulnerability, but rest with divine alignment becomes power. As nights pass and you continue this act, you will notice patterns breaking. Cycles that ran for years suddenly lose strength. Financial leaks close. Fear no longer has a voice. You stop waking up with heaviness on your chest. Instead, you wake with clarity, direction, and quiet confidence. This is not coincidence. It is spiritual order being restored. Your soul is no longer fighting alone. Heaven is involved. There are homes where arguments increase at night for no clear reason. Homes where sickness intensifies after midnight. Homes where children cry or wake up screaming without explanation. These are signs of unguarded spiritual spaces, but the moment divine light is invited intentionally, the atmosphere obeys. Peace is not just a feeling, it is a spiritual force. When peace enters, chaos has no permission to stay. You may not hear angels, but you will feel the difference. The room becomes calmer, your breathing slows, your thoughts quiet down. That is because spiritual noise has been silenced. Darkness cannot function where order has been restored. And once your environment is aligned, your inner world begins to heal as well. This is also why your dreams begin to shift. Instead of confusion, you begin to see clarity. Instead of fear, you see release. Dreams of running turn into dreams of standing firm. Dreams of loss turn into dreams of recovery. These are not random images. They are your spirit responding to safety. When the spirit feels protected, it stops screaming through nightmares and starts communicating through revelation. As you sleep under divine covering, your mind resets. Stress that once followed you into bed loosens its grip. Worry no longer dominates your thoughts. You start trusting that you are not alone, even in silence. And this trust becomes strength. It carries into your day. You walk differently. You speak differently. You react differently. Because something inside you knows you are guarded. Over time, people around you may notice the change. They may say you look lighter, calmer, more focused. They may not understand what shifted, but you will know. You took authority over your unseen space. You stopped allowing the night to be used against you. You turned your rest into resistance and your sleep into alignment. This is how spiritual maturity grows. Not through noise, but through consistency. Not through fear, but through understanding. Each night you repeat this act, you are reinforcing a boundary. You are teaching your spirit that it is safe, You are reminding the unseen world that your life is not open territory. Even on nights when you feel tired or distracted, the act itself speaks. Faith does not require perfection. It requires intention. Heaven responds to intention. When you show up consistently, protection becomes permanent. What once required effort becomes natural. Peace becomes your default state. Remember, darkness depends on repetition too. That is how patterns form. But light, when applied consistently, dismantles patterns at their root. What was passed down through fear, trauma, or spiritual neglect stops with you. You become the one who breaks the line. You become the one who changes the atmosphere for everyone connected to you. This is why it is important to guard not only your space, but your words. Speak life over your nights. Speak peace over your sleep. Speak favor over your mornings. Your voice carries authority when aligned with faith. Even whispers in the dark are loud in the spirit. As days turn into weeks, you may begin to notice divine timing working in your favor. Calls come unexpectedly. Solutions appear without stress. Money stretches further. Ideas flow more easily. These are signs that resistance has been reduced. When spiritual interference is removed, life moves forward naturally. Never underestimate what happens when you sleep under covering. Sleep is when the soul repairs. It is when the mind resets. It is when divine instruction often flows. When protected, sleep becomes a place of renewal instead of vulnerability. You wake up not just rested, but restored. If ever you feel heaviness returning, do not panic. Awareness does not mean fear. It means readiness. Simply return to alignment. Reclaim your space. Speak authority again. Light never struggles to return where it has already been welcomed. Your nights are no L. Hunger, ordinary. They are intentional. They are guarded. They are powerful. You are not just resting. You are repositioning. You are not just sleeping. You are resetting. And every time you choose to protect your night, you choose life, clarity, and forward movement. Stay consistent. Stay aware. Stay aligned. Let peace become familiar. Let rest become deep. Let mornings become hopeful again. Because when the night is covered, the day cannot defeat you. As this understanding settles deeper within you, you begin to sense a quiet strength forming in your spirit. It is not loud or dramatic, but steady and unshakable. You realize that peace is not something you chase anymore. It is something you carry. When you lie down at night, you are no longer anxious about what might happen in the dark because you know you have already taken authority over it. Fear loses its grip when confidence in divine covering takes its place. There was a time when night felt heavy, when silence felt threatening, when your mind replayed worries again and again. But now the silence feels safe. The quiet no longer frightens you because you understand that stillness is not emptiness. It is space for restoration. It is space for God to work without distraction. And as you rest in that awareness, your body responds. Tension leaves your muscles. Your heartbeat slows. Your breath deepens. Healing begins in places you did not even know were wounded. Every night you align your space, you are teaching your soul a new rhythm. You are training it to rest without fear. You are breaking the habit of bracing for attack. Over time, your spirit learns that it does not have to stay alert all night. It can finally rest. And when the spirit rests, the body follows. This is why true rest heals faster than medicine. It reaches places that pills cannot touch. You may begin to notice that your reactions during the day change. Things that once triggered anger no longer shake you as easily. Situations that once caused panic now meet a calm response. This is because battles that used to drain you at night are no longer stealing from you. Your strength is preserved. Your energy is protected. You are no longer waking up already tired from unseen struggles. As your nights become guarded, your discernment sharpens. You start sensing when something is not right without panic. You become aware without being afraid. This is the balance of spiritual maturity. You are alert, but not anxious. You are informed but not overwhelmed. Darkness loses power when it is seen clearly and addressed calmly. There will be moments when memories surface as you rest. Old fears, old disappointments, old pain. Do not resist them. This is part of the healing. When you are safe, the soul releases what it has been holding. Let it come. Let it pass. You are not being attacked. You are being cleansed. Light exposes not to harm, but to heal. As nights continue, you may find yourself waking up just before dawn with a sense of clarity. Ideas come, direction forms, answers that felt distant suddenly make sense. This is because your spirit is no longer exhausted. It has space to hear. God often speaks when the noise settles. When fear is gone, instruction flows more easily. You begin to understand that protection is not just about defense. It is about alignment. When your space is aligned, your decisions become clearer. You waste less time. You avoid unnecessary battles. You choose better paths. This is how favor works quietly. It does not always announce itself. It simply removes obstacles before you even see them. Some nights you may fall asleep quickly. Other nights you may lie awake for a while. Do not be discouraged. Peace is not measured by speed of sleep, but by the absence of fear. Even in wakefulness, you are company, veiled. Even in silence, you are guarded. Trust does not disappear because sleep delays. It deepens because you remain calm. As you continue, your home begins to feel different, not just at night, but during the day as well. The air feels lighter. Conversations feel calmer. Conflict loses its intensity. This is because spiritual alignment does not turn off when the sun rises. What you establish at night influences everything that follows. You may also notice that certain people drift away while others draw closer. This is not loss, it is alignment. Peace attracts peace. Light attracts light. When your atmosphere changes, only what belongs will remain. This creates room for healthier connections, stronger support, and more genuine relationships. Never feel strange for guarding your night. The world may not understand it, but your spirit does. This is wisdom, not fear. This is awareness, not obsession. You are not reacting to darkness. You are establishing light, and light never needs to explain itself. It simply shines. When challenges come, and they will, you will notice that they do not hit as hard as before. You recover faster. You bounce back stronger. This resilience is built in rest. Protected rest creates strength that struggle cannot break. Your nights are now part of your healing journey. Each one layers piece upon piece. Each one rebuilds what stress tried to tear down. As this continues, you begin to trust life again. You trust sleep. You trust silence. You trust that you are not alone, even when everything is quiet. This is not about perfection. There will be nights you forget, nights you are too tired. Do not condemn yourself. Simply return the next night. Grace covers consistency. What matters is the direction of your heart, not flawless routine. You are learning to live from a place of rest, not exhaustion. From awareness, not fear. From authority, no. Helplessness. And this changes everything. Because when the inner world is steady, the outer world eventually follows. Let your nights continue to be sacred. Let your rest be deep. Let your spirit remain at ease. You are covered. You are guarded. And as long as you keep choosing alignment over fear, peace will continue to multiply within you. As this peace continues to grow, you may start noticing something subtle but powerful. Your confidence no longer depends on circumstances. Even when things around you feel uncertain, something inside you remains steady. This is because fear no longer rules your inner space. When fear leaves, clarity takes its place. You begin to trust your steps again. You stop second-guessing every decision. You move forward with quiet assurance, knowing you are not exposed. There was a time when the night felt like an enemy, when darkness seemed to carry threat instead of rest. But now the night feels different. It feels like a shelter. It feels like a pause where your soul is allowed to breathe. You understand that darkness itself is not evil. It is simply a canvas. And when you fill it with intention and faith, It becomes a place of renewal rather than danger. You may find yourself thanking God more often without forcing it. Gratitude rises naturally because peace makes room for appreciation. When your spirit is no longer under pressure, joy returns in simple ways. A calm morning, a clear thought, a sense of hope that does not need proof. These small things begin to matter again, and they quietly rebuild your strength. Some nights, emotions may surface unexpectedly. Tears may come without warning. This is not weakness. This is release. Your soul is finally safe enough to let go of what it carried for too long. Let the tears fall. They are not signs of defeat. They are signs of healing. Nothing that is protected needs to be held tightly anymore. As you continue resting under covering, you may notice that old habits begin to lose their pull. Patterns that once controlled you slowly weaken. You do not fight them aggressively. They simply fall away because the environment that fed them no longer exists. Light does not argue with darkness, it replaces it. Your relationship with sleep changes as well. You stop seeing it as lost time or wasted hours. You begin to honor it. You recognize that rest is not laziness. It is preparation. It is restoration. It is a sacred exchange where your strength is renewed quietly. When you respect rest, your body responds with energy and balance. You may also begin to sense a deeper connection during prayer, even short prayers. Words feel lighter, faith feels closer. This is because your spirit is no longer crowded. When noise leaves, connection becomes easier. You do not have to struggle to feel God's presence. Peace makes room for awareness. Over time, you will notice that even challenges arrive differently. They come, but they do not stay. They knock, but they do not move in. You handle them without losing yourself. This is the fruit of protected nights. When your foundation is strong, storms do not define you. Your home becomes a place of rest, not tension. Even visitors may feel it. They may say they feel calm without knowing why. That is the atmosphere responding to alignment. Peace spreads quietly. It does not announce itself. It simply settles and stays. There may be moments when doubt tries to return. Thoughts may whisper that nothing has changed. When this happens, do not argue. Simply observe how far you have come. Notice how your nights feel now compared to before. Notice how your mornings begin. Evidence of change often appears in peace before it appears in results. Continue choosing awareness over fear. Continue choosing alignment over worry. You are not doing is to control life. You are doing this to trust it again. And trust changes everything. As you move forward, let your nights remain intentional, but not heavy. Gentle faith is still faith. Quiet authority is still authority. You do not need to prove anything to the unseen world. Your consistency already speaks. Rest knowing that you are no longer unguarded. Sleep knowing that you are not forgotten. Rise knowing that you are strengthened. This rhythm will carry you into stability, clarity, and quiet victory. And as peace continues to deepen, let it remind you of this truth. You were never meant to survive life in constant tension. You are meant to live anchored, covered, and at ease. When the night is aligned, the soul heals. When the soul heals, life begins to flow again. As this calm becomes familiar, you start to recognize how much strength was hidden beneath the fear you once carried. You were never weak. You were simply tired. Tired of guarding yourself without support. Tired of fighting battles you could not see or explain. Now that protection surrounds your rest. That strength begins to rise again, quietly and naturally. You may notice that you no longer rush into sleep to escape the day. Instead, you ease into rest with intention. You allow the day to close gently. Thoughts slow down. The mind stops racing. This is not because problems disappeared, but because they no longer have control over your inner world. You have learned that peace does not come from fixing everything before bed. It comes from trusting that you are held even when things are unfinished. Some nights you may feel a deep stillness, almost like time has paused. In those moments, your spirit is being restored layer by layer. Old wounds that words could never heal begin to soften. Tension stored deep within the body slowly releases. This is the kind of healing that does not announce itself, but leaves lasting change. You may also begin to forgive more easily, not because people suddenly deserve it, but because holding pain feels heavier than letting it go. Peace gives you the strength to release what once felt impossible to release. Forgiveness becomes less about others and more about protecting your own rest. As this continues, your sense of worth begins to shift. You stop measuring yourself by struggle or comparison. You begin to see value in stillness, in consistency, in quiet faith. You realize that your life does not need to be dramatic to be meaningful. Stability becomes beautiful. Calm becomes powerful. You may catch yourself smiling for no clear reason. Moments of contentment arrive without effort. These are signs that your nervous system is settling, that your spirit recognizes safety. When safety becomes real, joy returns naturally. Even your breathing changes. It becomes deeper, slower, more relaxed. Your body begins to trust the night again. It no longer braces itself against imagined danger. It rests. And when the body rests fully, it repairs itself more deeply. You may also notice that your intuition grows clearer. Decisions feel less forced. You sense when to move and when to wait. This is not confusion. This is discernment growing from peace. When the mind is quiet, wisdom speaks more clearly. There will still be nights when worries try to surface. When that happens, gently remind yourself that you are covered. Do not fight the thoughts aggressively. Simply return to awareness. Peace does not argue. It reassures. As days pass, your mornings may begin with gratitude instead of dread. You wake up feeling present instead of overwhelmed. You start the day from fullness rather than depletion. This shift may feel small at first, but it changes everything. You are learning a new way of living, one where rest is honored, one where the night is respected, not feared, one where your inner world is guarded with intention and care. This is how lasting change happens, not through pressure, but through protection, not through constant effort, but through alignment. You are not forcing peace into your life. You are allowing it to take its rightful place. Let this continue. Let rest deepen. Let trust grow. Let your nights remain gentle and your spirit remain steady. You are safe. You are supported. And as long as you keep choosing awareness and alignment, peace will continue to unfold in ways you never thought possible. As this sense of safety settles deeper, you may begin to realize how long your soul lived in survival mode, always alert, always bracing, always preparing for something to go wrong. You may not have known it consciously, but your spirit knew. And now, for the first time in a long while, it is learning how to stand down, not in weakness, but in trust, not in carelessness, but in confidence that you are not alone. You start to understand that rest is not surrendering control. It is releasing what was never yours to carry alone. The night becomes a gentle teacher, reminding you that life continues even when you stop trying to manage every detail. And in that letting go, strength returns in a purer form. Sometimes while lying in bed, you may feel warmth move through your body or a quiet sense of reassurance wash over you. These moments do not need explanation. They are signs of alignment. Signs that your inner world is finally matching the peace you are created to live in. You do not need to analyze them. Simply receive them. As your nights grow calmer, you may notice that your patience during the day increases. You react less from irritation and more from understanding. Small delays no longer shake you. You begin to realize that urgency was never your nature. It was pressure placed on you. And as that pressure lifts, your true rhythm returns. You may also begin to sense when it is time to rest even during the day. You stop pushing past exhaustion to prove something. You honor your limits without guilt. This is not laziness. This is wisdom. A protected spirit understands when to move and when to pause. There will be moments when old fears attempt to resurface, especially during quiet times. They may come as thoughts, memories, or sensations. When they do, meet them gently. Do not judge yourself for their appearance. Healing does not erase the past overnight. It teaches you how to respond differently to it. And now, instead of panic, you respond with awareness. You remind yourself that you are no longer unguarded, that the night no longer works against you, that your rest is not a risk, but a refuge. Each time you do this, the old fears lose a little more ground. As weeks go by, you may notice that your body feels more balanced. Headaches lessen, sleep becomes deeper, energy stabilizes. This is what happens when stress is no longer stored through the night. The body finally gets the message that it is safe to repair itself. You may also feel drawn to simpler things, quiet moments, soft light, gentle routines. This is not withdrawal, it is realignment. When chaos leaves, simplicity feels nourishing instead of boring. You begin to enjoy peace rather than feel uncomfortable in it. Your inner dialogue changes as well. The harsh voice that once criticized you begins to soften. You speak to yourself with more kindness. This is one of the clearest signs that healing is taking place. When the spirit feels protected, self-compassion grows naturally. As your nights remain steady, your faith becomes less frantic and more grounded. You stop praying from fear and start speaking from trust. Your words carry calm authority instead of desperation. This kind of faith is quiet, but it is powerful. It does not beg, it rests. You begin to understand that protection is not about avoiding all difficulty. It is about being anchored through it. Life still moves, challenges still come, but they no longer uproot you. You remain centered even when circumstances shift. Let this rhythm continue to form. Let your nights remain gentle spaces of renewal. Let your rest teach your body and spirit that safety is now your normal. You do not need to rush this process. Healing unfolds at its own pace and peace deepens layer by layer. Trust what is happening within you. Even when there are no dramatic signs, change is still taking place. Quiet transformation is often the most lasting kind. And as long as you continue choosing awareness, alignment, and rest, your inner world, D, will keep moving towards stability, clarity, and calm strength. You are learning how to live from a place of peace, not pressure, from grounding, not fear. And this way of living will continue to reshape every part of your life, starting with the moments when you close your eyes and allow yourself to truly rest. As this way of resting becomes part of your life, you may begin to notice how your sense of time changes. Nights no longer feel rushed or heavy, they feel spacious. You stop feeling like you are running out of energy or racing against tomorrow. Instead, each evening feels like a gentle closing, a moment where the day releases you rather than demands more from you. This shift is important because pressure thrives on urgency, but peace grows in patience. You may start to feel more present with yourself. Lying in bed, you notice your breath, your heartbeat, the quiet around you. These simple moments become meaningful again. They remind you that you are alive, that you are held, that you are not required to perform or prove anything in order to be worthy of rest. This awareness heals places inside you that were shaped by constant striving. There will be nights when memories return, not as threats, but as reminders of how far you have come. You may remember nights when sleep was impossible, when fear felt endless, when peace felt like something meant for other people. Instead of pain, these memories now bring gratitude. They show you the contrast. They confirm that something real has shifted. As you continue, you may notice that your body begins to trust you again. It no longer tightens at every sound. It no longer wakes you abruptly in the night. It begins to believe that you will protect it, that you will not abandon it to fear or overwhelm. This trust between your body and spirit is powerful. It creates stability that cannot be easily shaken. Your dreams may continue to evolve. Some nights may be quiet and blank, filled only with rest. Other nights may bring meaningful images, gentle guidance, or symbolic release. Both are valuable. Silence is not absence. Sometimes silence means the battle is over and rest is the message. You may also notice that your boundaries vary. The day becomes clearer. You say no without guilt. You step away without fear. You choose rest without apology. This is not selfishness. This is self-respect formed through safety. When your nights are guarded, your days become more intentional. At times, you may feel tempted to return to old patterns of overthinking, especially when challenges appear. When this happens, remind yourself that awareness does not mean control. You do not need to relive fear to stay protected. You simply return to alignment. Peace is not fragile. It does not break easily. It only asks to be remembered. As this continues, your inner voice becomes steadier. It no longer speaks in extremes. It no longer predicts disaster. It becomes calm, grounded, and realistic. This is what happens when the nervous system heals. When the spirit feels safe, the mind stops inventing danger. You may even notice changes in how your body responds to stress. Where tension once built quickly, it now releases faster. Where exhaustion once lingered, energy returns more easily. This is the body learning that it no longer has to stay on guard through the night. Repair becomes more efficient. Balance returns gradually. There will be moments when you feel deeply grateful for the ordinary. A quiet room, a calm evening, a full breath. These moments may seem small, but they are signs of a restored inner world. When chaos leaves, simplicity becomes a gift. Your faith too continues to deepen in a gentle way. You stop trying to force belief. You stop questioning whether you are doing enough. Trust grows quietly, like roots beneath the surface. This kind of faith does not need constant reassurance. It simply rests in knowing. As you lie down night after night with intention, you are teaching your spirit a powerful truth that safety is allowed, that peace is possible, that rest is not a luxury, but a foundation over time. This truth becomes part of who you are. Let yourself continue in this rhythm. Let nights remain soft. Let days remain grounded. Let your life unfold from a place of calm strength rather than constant effort. You are not falling behind by resting. You are preparing yourself to move forward with clarity. And as you close your eyes each night, allow yourself this knowing. You are not vulnerable in rest. You are not exposed in stillness. You are supported, guided, and held. And in that quiet assurance, your spirit continues to heal, one peaceful night at a time.